From the moment you plug in your phone, energy is pulled from your local power grid to charge your phone on a daily basis. The energy supplied to that power grid comes from a power plant where fossil fuels are constantly burning. But this type of conventional energy comes at a cost, whether it comes in the form of an electric bill or it comes in the form of the health of our environment. Nearly everybody owns a smartphone, and a power source is essential to power that smartphone. We constantly rely on technology without knowing conventional power is limited. It is inevitable at one point that we're going to need to switch to a renewable resource like solar. There are three main reasons to switch to solar power, that being saving money, reducing overall wasted electricity, and reducing greenhouse gas emissions. I've done extensive research to figure out why solar should be our main source of energy and how it benefits you and the world around you. I want to start with how solar is a cleaner energy source, and then after that we're going to talk about how it reduces overall electric waste. Solar energy is cleaner for the environment and reduces the amount of greenhouse gas emissions that contribute to climate change. According to the article, The Effects of Climate Change, published by NASA, scientists have high confidence that global temperatures will continue to rise for decades to come, largely due to greenhouse gases produced by human activities. The IPCC, which includes more than 1,300 scientists from the United States and other countries, forecasts a temperature rise of 2.5 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit over the next century. For example, at the end of the last ice age, when the northeast US was covered more than 3,000 feet of ice, the average temperature then was only 5 to 9 degrees cooler than today. The information provided by the IPCC shows us why we should make a change. The impact of global warming on our world is growing, and a change to renewable resource can make a positive impact on our environment. We face an issue that only our generation could address, and it is up to us to make sure that our future generations have a healthy world to live in. According to the article Electricity and the Environment, published by the U.S. Energy Information Administration, the EIA states the electric power sector is a large source of the U.S. CO2 emissions. The electric power sector plants that burn fossil fuels for materials made from fossil fuels were the sources of about 33% of the total U.S. energy related to CO2 emissions in 2018. From a logical standpoint, the production and distribution of electricity makes up about 1/3 of CO2 emissions, which means if we were to switch to solar power, we can essentially eliminate our carbon footprint with electricity. According to the article Solar Panel Recycling, a Growing Recycling Market, published by Waste Advantage magazine, the author Emily Folks informs solar panels don't give off carbon emissions the same way that fossil fuels do. However, the incineration process of PV parts does. When these parts go into waste instead of a recycling plant, the incineration releases high levels of carbon. With a circular economy, however, these emissions could eventually end. This is the only downside to solar power, and with solar panels lasting from 20 to 25 years, we are on the cusp of having to replace and recycle many of the solar panels installed in the early 2000s. For a counter argument, many would argue that this would make solar just as harmful for the environment as power plants that burn fossil fuels. But as long as these materials are recycled in a proper way, we can 100% effectively get rid of our carbon footprint for the production and distribution of electricity. For my visual aid, I want to show you the steps it takes to get energy from a power plant to your house or business. So as you could, I just closed out the tab. Well, after talking about how solar power can provide us with a cleaner environment and how it reduces electric waste, I want to talk about how conventional power requires electricity to be generated when distributed to households, but lost in transmission along the way. According to the article How Much Electricity Disappears Between a Power Plant and Your Plug, written by Jordan Brock, an author for Inside Energy, which is a journalism initiative that informs the public about energy issues. Brock states, moving electricity from plants to homes and businesses on the transmission and distribution grid, we lost 69 trillion British thermal units in 2013. That's about how much energy Americans use drying our clothes every year. This distribution of energy is necessary if solar panels are installed on the home. Electricity would not have to travel from power plants to your homes because the power source is essentially at your house. So a lot of that energy that would have been lost on the way is totally cut out as the power source is right at your home. Brock informs us that generating electricity, we lost 22 quadrillion British thermal units from coal, natural gas, and nuclear power plants in 2013 in the US. That's more than energy than all the gasoline we use in a given year, which is a crazy amount. Generating electricity in power plants waste even more energy than the distribution of it, and these are non-reusable resources that are limited. This is a tremendous amount, and solar panels harvest the energy from the sun as long as the sun shines, and there is no loss in the generation of energy this way. We cover how solar is cleaner for the environment and how it reduces electrical waste. Now I'd like to move on to my final reason to switch to solar, and that is how solar will save you money. Solar power does not have a high fluctuating rate like conventional power does, and if you start saving as soon as you invest in solar. According to the article, It's Official, solar is the cheapest electricity in history, published by Popular Mechanics, a magazine that covers technology and science advancements in modern day. The author Caroline Delbert states in a new report, the International Energy Agency states solar is now the cheapest form of electricity. The IEA supports sustainable energy, and it works with different countries around the world. The electricity rates with a conventional energy fluctuate, and this can be expensive. Once you invest in solar panels, there is no change in the rate. And according to the article, Top 4 Benefits of Installing Solar Panels on Your Home, published by the U.S. Green Building Council, the author, Taryn Holoka, states the annual energy costs can be in the thousands, and in fact, the average energy annual for expenditure for an individual is about $3,000, including transportation and residential energy. Solar can reduce and eliminate these costs as soon as they are installed. $3,000 is a lot of money, and that is just if you live by yourself. If you had a family of 5, you'd be spending over $15,000 a year. You can buy a whole solar system for $15,000 and potentially make that money back in a year's time. This completes my third and final reason why solar should be in our households and be a main source of power. There are many reasons why you should switch to solar energy in your household, from saving money by eliminating your electric bills and helping the environment by reducing CO2 emissions. These are all reasons that impact our personal lives as well as the world around us. And if there's one thing that you would take from this speech, it is that we must leave a livable world for our future children and generations to thrive in. Thank you for listening.